the commissioners and assistant commissioners that have been introduced, the PPDA staff, members of the contracts committee and user department from different ministries, my colleagues, the procurement professionals, ladies and gentlemen. I want to add my voice to welcome all of you to this engagement of disseminating the regulations 2023 and the guidelines 2024. First of all, I believe all of you present here, you are aware of the hierarchy of the legal framework in this country, but maybe I can remind you that of course we have the Constitution, which governs all the legal instruments. We have the Act. In this case, we can talk about the PPDA Act, since this is the subject of discussion. Then we have the regulations, which is the reason we are here. Then we have the guidelines, and also the reason we are here. The authority is also working on the standard bidding document. Standard bidding documents as a way of completing the cycle of the legal instruments in the procurement process. Appreciate you are coming, especially those who came. I was joking with the Reverend Jayan and the team I found here, Rutimba, said, isn't poor time management a form of corruption? Because now I am paid for all this time, from 8 to 11. This time I have earned the money, which I have not worked for. So it is another serious form of corruption that we have in the government. And when we talk about inefficiencies and all these things we are doing, this is the cause. So I think we need to stir it up. Because first of all, those who come late waste time of those who come early. Otherwise, we could all agree and say, let's come at 11. If we know that, but if we say 11, they will come in the afternoon. I want to appreciate Minister of Finance, especially Procurement Policy and Management Department for partnering with PPDA in the dissemination. And first of all, in amending the Act, the Assistant Commission talked about it, which became effective 2nd July 2021, but also in amending the regulations. We have 7 regulations. I think they will elaborate on them that were amended. We have 2 regulations that are new, including negotiation and planning. Then we have 4 regulations that were not touched, including medical supplies. That one was not touched. And the regulations governing missions abroad and others, they will elaborate on them. And we have a set of guidelines that we also worked on, but I have two dear ones that I want to talk about. One is local content guideline 2024. That one is very dear to me and should be dear to all of you, because you are all Ugandans, and this is geared supporting the Ugandans, the local content. And you are the ones to drive this economy by supporting I think that is part of sustainable public procurement. How do we have inclusivity? How do we ensure that the contracts, the thresholds that were put in the guideline are implemented What about those procurement that are reserved for you to buy? The other day we had, maybe I shouldn't use it as an example, but I can talk about it. In the Ministry of Defense, we had an issue there. The agreement is buy local uniforms. From Nightil, from fine spinners, but also these, what we call our local providers or manufacturers, we must monitor them closely. Effective, actually. Say, you give them a tender, they import. Now, have we met the objective of the local content? No. Because we are saying there are many advantages by manufacturing these items in Uganda. You are employing Ugandans, you are paying utilities, you are paying taxes, you are using our local inputs. But if we say we have reserved, we have given you this reservation, exclusive right to supply these products in this country, and then after getting the contract, you go and import, then we have missed the point. So we must do close monitoring of some of these things we are talking about. The second guideline that is also dear to my heart is the special interest group guideline number, is it 12 or 11? 11, the local content is 12. That one, we are saying, how can we support these ladies of ours, our women? Women in real sense. Not these who pretend to look like women when they are not women. You know them, what I'm talking about. If you are in that category, you are not part of that reservation. I used to work in Masina, and we had one who would even put in earrings and do the hair and walk like a lady. Those are not going to benefit, but we are talking about real women by gender, by birth. Then youth and persons with disabilities. I was very impressed last week when I saw Uganda Revenue Authority advertising for pre-qualification, and they put a section for special interest groups, and they say these procurements, and they had a very long list of categories of procurements reserved for that group. Meaning, if you are outside that group, you are not going to pre-qualify, to be pre-qualified. And we have done a lot in terms of having them registered, sensitize them, and this is part of the sensitization. So I want to really call upon you to be our partners. This knowledge, don't keep it to yourselves. As much as you are key stakeholders in the procurement process, but also disseminate it. Disseminate it, whatever you are going to get in terms of what were the pertinent areas that were amended in the regulations, what were the pertinent areas that these guidelines are talking about. You are going to be here the whole day, and I believe you are going to get knowledge that you will use in your day-to-day handling of procurement function, but also disseminate to those who are not here. I want to pose a question. Here we have user departments. We have contracts committee. We have PDU. And we have policy and PPDA. If we are talking about the stakeholders or the architects of public procurement, you are in this room. But the question is, are you happy with public procurement? Does public procurement deliver? Why are people complaining? And I will tell you, when we did the integrity survey study, the result was 73% of those that were talked about said you can't get a tender without bribing the system. And those who are bribed are in this room, if that is a fact. How can we change the perception? It is me and you. I know bidders want influence also. They come to you actually. Most times, say, well, let's do it like this, and you also accept. If the bidders were not coming, or if you ask them and they don't give, then maybe this perception would reduce. We need to fight that. But other than corruption, you have had, again, the PSCs who are at State House. You had? I'm on Procurement Ppda forum, and I usually see what happens, the debates. They are saying, let's go away with the procurement organs. We don't need a contracts committee. We don't need a PDU, because we are looking for a lean, an efficient, and corruptible procurement system. When we are doing our audits, and some of you in big infrastructure, you will agree with me, you start a procurement, it takes a whole year. After evaluation, a whole year. And you wonder what is the issue? Of course, some of you will pretend to tell you. The other day I was having an exit with Duncan. Say, no, you told us to start a process, but don't sign a contract without having money. Maybe it is true, but how are you going to wait for a whole year? And you think the services that this procurement was intended to deliver is still relevant? Yes, it could be still relevant, but delayed service. Someone could have died because of your delay. So, as much as we are talking about disseminating these regulations, I would be happy also to hear proposals coming from this engagement on how we can improve the procurement function. There is a debate. We even don't know what will happen tomorrow. And you know, this rationalization is high. The political mind is saying, let's rationalize. So if the big man, they say, let's go away with PDUs, it will not take even a minute. He will sign the instrument. If they say contracts committee no more, it will not take a minute. But we must show cause why we must remain and what contribution are we making to the sustainable national development of this country. I think that is all. In my opinion, as the regulator, procurement is a strategic function, but should be used to deliver sustainable service, sustainable national development. If you handle procurement and you don't deliver service, it is in vain. So it should be a vehicle to service delivery. One time we audited in the East, a school which was built 2 years down the road. It had not been a city school, this city school under UGIFT. It had not been occupied for 2 years after handover. And you wonder whether needs assessment were done. You have constructed a health center, no medicine, no staff. We as procurement, especially now that procurement, we have even commissioners, the thinkers. Let's resist and look at the strategic objective of what we are going to procure. But not just having a procurement one time I think it was runs, sometime before 2010. Was it runs? But here at prisons, they procured vehicles and they were there for more than 2 years. And you wonder, they were brought vehicles here in town. Who's from Rands? You are from Rands. Maybe you are not joined that time. You procure vehicles, they are there for 10 years. And maybe someone was looking, what do I get in my pocket? Because if I procure 50 vehicles, each vehicle is 5 million. I have called it, but the vehicles are not used. Why do you spend this money? And eventually they disposed them before they were even driven. Maybe someone ate on the disposal. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are our concerns, and it should be concerns of all of us, so that we contribute to the national development of this country. I want to thank you again, but maybe Reverend Gillian, we need also to join churches and mosques and start preaching about integrity in public procurement. If we had a measure, by the way, I wouldn't be looking, when we are recruiting, we wouldn't be looking at how many degrees you have, your ACCA, your SIPs. We should measure, put a thermometer or a measure on your head and say, what is the level of integrity? So that we can have people with high integrity in these offices. The problem when we reach these offices, then again we get compromised. But let's try our level best. But more especially, making sure that this procurement has been completed, but the intended objective of this procurement has also been delivered. I thank you once again, and I wish you the good deliberation this day. Please ask as many questions as you want, because this law, by the way, the Ppda, of course, finance, you know it. There is dynamism. Very soon, this Ppda Act is going also to be amended. So what can we put there so that we are felt and we are delivering? I thank you, and may God bless all of you.